Thank you, everyone, for coming, and MTA for being here and staying. We're going to get started, and they'll lead us in the pledge, and we also have our awards presentations. So feel free to stay for any of that or the whole meeting. So one moment. I will go ahead and call this meeting of the Madison Elementary School District Governing Board to order. Ms. Humphries, can you do the roll, please?
President Gresham.
Here.
Vice President Thompson.
Present.
Member Holcomb is here but not present at the moment. Member Causey.
Here.
Member Spear.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. And we'll go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance. So our MTA students, please lead us. And I skipped the adoption of the agenda, so we can do that now. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Thank you, Ms. Causey and Ms. Thompson. And the agenda has been adopted. And we do not have an executive session scheduled. Does anybody have any need for executive session? Okay. And next we will go to our presentations. Dr. Guerin.
President Gresham, Vice President Thompson, members of the board, cabinet, and guests. Our first round of open enrollment letters were sent last week. Families have 1 week to respond. Our communication. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot all the awards. How could I do that? Miss Andrews, could you save me, please?
All right. The You Make the Difference and Shining Star Awards are presented by the Madison District Classroom Teachers Classified and Certified Association and Madison Administration to recognize the certified and classified staff who truly demonstrate Madison's vision of inspiring passion for learning and leading in an ever-changing world. All right, and tonight's first You Make the Difference Award recipient is Lonnie McGuire. Lonnie McGuire is an exceptional teacher who goes above and beyond her work duties every single day. She truly makes a difference in the lives of her students. Lonnie is as dependable as they come, and she faces challenges with the most positive attitude, even when the tasks at hand seem daunting. Lonnie deserves this award because she pushes herself to grow, places students' needs at the forefront of her decisions, and truly teaches from the heart. Lonnie provides the calm for her students every day at Roselane. She treats students with respect and care and provides a learning environment where all of her students can be successful and thrive. Many of the students that Lonnie sees are learning to become fluent in the English language. Lonnie provides their instruction in creative and engaging ways that get students genuinely active in their learning. This allows her students to flourish and grow, both academically as well as socially and emotionally. This year, Lonnie provided support to 8 new refugee students as they joined the Roselane family. She was flexible in readjusting her schedule and helped to organize some additional meetings to fully prepare support for the students. She did everything in her power to ensure that our new students would feel comfortable and safe as they begin their educational journey at Roselane. Lonnie's positive impact is felt every day, and she continuously brings her best for both students and teachers. She may not always realize how much her role here at Roselane means to the staff and students, but she is irreplaceable. Lonnie is the true meaning of making a difference.
Much tighter than it usually is.
I know. This feels uncomfortable. It's intimidating.
Shake everybody.
Yes, we meet your mom.
And we have a microphone up here if you'd like to say something.
You can just speak, it's
It'll
like
just
in the
pick you
air.
up.
You can't escape it.
Oh, okay. I want to say thank you to everybody. My family's been really supportive. Andre and Carrie have been amazing. Laura Webb has been wonderful with the new refugees. It's been interesting, and I've made some of the best friends ever at Madison, and I went to Madison. I went to Meadows, so it's home.
Yes.
So thank you so much.
Do you have anybody with you?
Well, my husband's here, my daughter's here. She also went to Madison for some of her years, and my mom is here. And then my friend Jen, who I taught with last week. So.
And our next You Make the Difference Award recipient is Kendra Crow. Kendra Crow, a social worker at Madison Traditional Academy, embodies the spirit of the You Make the Difference Award through her remarkable dedication and positive impact on the school community. Her unwavering commitment to supporting students' well-being and fostering a nurturing environment has made her an invaluable asset to MTA. First, Kendra consistently demonstrates genuine care and empathy in her interactions with students, staff, and families. She goes above and beyond to provide personalized support to students facing various challenges, including academic struggles, social emotional issues, and family hardships. Her compassionate approach creates a safe space where students feel heard, understood, and supported. Moreover, Kendra's proactive initiatives have significantly contributed to enhancing students' overall well-being at MTA. Through targeted interventions, counseling sessions, and resource coordination, she helps students overcome obstacles and thrive academically, socially, and emotionally. Her efforts had led to a tangible improvement in students' confidence, behavior, and academic performance. Furthermore, Kendra's dedication to fostering a positive and inclusive school culture has impacted the MTA community. She actively promotes kindness, respect, and empathy among students through various initiatives, including anti-bullying campaigns and diversity awareness programs. Her efforts have helped create a nurturing environment where every student feels valued and accepted. Kendra Crow's exceptional dedication, compassion, and proactive approach make her a deserving candidate for the You Make the Difference Award.
I'm just really thankful to be part of like my MTA family and just being at MTA and working for the Madison District. I really love my job and I'm very blessed to be here, and yeah, I wouldn't trade it for the world. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, my mom is here, and then my brother and my sister-in-law are also here, and then my coworkers. Thank you.
All right, our first Shining Star Award recipient is Andrea Lefebvre. Andrea Lefebvre, our Shining Star, is truly one of a kind. She brings care, understanding, and devotion to our Rose Lane students every single day. Andrea is available at a moment's notice and is always willing to help without any hesitation. This year, Andrea has been providing support all around our campus and has been the answer for many of our challenges. She oversees our breakfast time in the cafeteria every morning. It is here that she ensures our students are safe and responsible while also taking the time to build relationships with them. Andrea will take the extra moment to ask a student how they are feeling or to check in about their weekend. She makes students' well-being her #1 priority and exemplifies empathy daily. Andrea provides instructional support to grades 1st through 4th. She works with teachers to plan and provide differentiated learning opportunities for students in small groups daily. Her strong rapport with teachers has allowed her to collaborate with ease, and they trust her to make decisions that are best for all students. Students' academics and social emotional well-being have both been impacted positively because of the work of Andrea. Her incredible impact is beyond appreciated. Andrea also assists with bus duty every day and has acted as a substitute for our 4th grade classrooms on numerous occasions this year. She does all of this with a smile on her face and an amazing attitude to match. The students and staff cherish her and know that Rose Lane would not be the same without her. Andrea shines bright every single day and deserves every ounce of this recognition.
Anything you don't do.
I am so grateful. Thank you to my administration. And I love my job, as we all say here tonight. I really, really do. I'm not a morning person, but when I get there, I just love it. And unfortunately, I do not have anyone in town with me tonight. My husband's traveling for work, but I have my Rose Lane family out there and some little ones. So thank you so much for this recognition.
Thank you. Thank you.
And our second Shining Star Award recipient is Llewellyn Torres. Llewellyn Torres epitomizes the essence of excellence and dedication in her role as the MTA registrar. With her unwavering commitment to service, exemplary responsibility, and remarkable ability to foster positive relationships, Llewellyn has undoubtedly earned the admiration and respect of her colleagues. Her unfailing helpfulness is a beacon of light for all who interact with her. Whether assisting students with enrollment procedures, guiding faculty through administrative processes, or addressing stakeholder queries, Llewellyn approaches each task with a genuine desire to support others. Llewellyn's sense of responsibility is second to none. She approaches her duties with meticulous attention to detail and a strong sense of accountability, whether managing complex registration systems, overseeing the accuracy of academic records, or coordinating with various departments to streamline processes. Llewellyn consistently demonstrates her ability to handle challenges gracefully and efficiently. Llewellyn's exceptional interpersonal skills have undoubtedly contributed to a harmonious and collaborative work environment within the MTA community. Her ability to communicate effectively listen attentively, and empathize with others fosters a sense of camaraderie and mutual respect among colleagues. Llewellyn is a shining star whose contributions to the MTA community are invaluable. Her selfless dedication, unwavering responsibility, and remarkable interpersonal skills make her an exemplary recipient of the Shining Star Award.
Hello, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you for everything. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much. That's all I got to say. I'm very grateful with my MTA family. They're very awesome, and I love them. And I have my daughter here with me, and my husband's got called to work, so I'm going to be here tonight. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for everything. Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone, and feel free to stay or not. So we'll give you a minute to go if you want. Okay, Dr. Guerin, now would you like to give your report?
Are we sure? I'm really ready. I've been practicing. President Gresham, Vice President Thompson, members of the board, cabinet, and guests. Our first round of open enrollment, can you believe it, were sent last week for next year. Families have 1 week in this round to respond. Our communications department is sending out emails, text messages, robocalls, no carrier pigeons, but any way we can to remind families to respond. Keep up to date by visiting the enrollment page on our website. We are so excited to welcome new students to the Madison family, and thank you for communications for spearheading that. It's also almost time to register for community education preschool for next year, MAC for next year, and summer camp. Check out the community education website for important registration information and dates. These opportunities fill up fast, as we all know, so please check out the website. Our next hiring event is March 20th, hoping this will be just as successful as the few that we've done. It's from 4 to 6 in the Madison Center for the Arts. Please help us spread the word that joining the Madison family is a great choice. There's some fun events coming up. Tickets are on sale for Malevo for this Friday at the Center for the Arts. I am looking forward to attending this amazing event, which is a modernized version of a traditional Argentinian folklore dance that is brought up to date and modernized. So I'm super excited. Actually, Ms. Humphreys will be attending with me, so we're excited about that. Madison Foundation will have their night at the museum on March 22nd. This is truly a fun event. It's free for families. I will once again be volunteering at the button making machine. It is my new skill that I picked up last year, so if you want a button for me, please attend Night at the Museum. And Viva Madison Gala is April 27th. Get your tickets now. Such a fun event, and you can purchase the tickets from the foundation's website. In closing, it's that time of year where so many of our elementary students are visiting our middle schools, and I keep getting emails and comments, rave reviews about how excited our elementary students are. I just want to thank our middle school staff and our student leaders who are leading some of the tours for making our elementary students feel so truly welcome. I also want to mention in February before spring break, sometimes people are doing amazing things and they don't even know how awesome they are. And I can't think of a better time to let our employees know how awesome, because this is a little bit of the time of the year where we all get a little tired. We're pushing through this year. We're planning for next year. It's almost third quarter. I mean, it's almost fourth quarter, actually. So it takes about 15 seconds, I've timed it, to fill out an awesome award. And our amazing communications department will send a beautiful certificate for you. And it really does make a difference. So I just want to encourage everyone to take advantage of that. And that's all I have today.
Thank you. We'll move on to our board member reports. Ms. Spear, would you like to start?
I will be very brief. I just want to say thank you to our staff. I know that sometimes the political tenor of the day and some of the challenges that we do face as a public school district where we accept all students can be a very big challenge. And I just wanted to say thank you. You are seen, you are heard, you are appreciated, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Ms. Kasi?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to congratulate all of our award winners. It's always a great reminder of just the extraordinarily committed staff we have in the district. And for every award winner we have, there's always, 50 more that probably should be up here, but no one wants to be here for 5 hours on a Tuesday night. I also just wanted to state that I've heard, we have a new population of students. We seem to be getting a number of refugees at Rose Lane, and I learned today that there's a charter school that has in the past been very competitive with our performing arts school, and next year, as their mandatory student activity fee, they will be charging $500 per family. And I just, it's a reminder of it's eye-popping. We serve all students, and that's an important part of who we are, and it is just blows me away to hear that schools that are receiving public dollars feel comfortable asking that level of commitment for a kid to register in their school. It is stunning. It is absolutely stunning. Also wanted to mention that I attended with President Gresham, Arizona School Boards Association Advocacy Day. Always a good opportunity to learn about the legislation that's happening down at the Capitol, to meet a few legislators. We had a student panel with students from some of our more rural tribal communities who shared some really powerful insight, really moving presentation, incredibly honest and valuable. And then Molly Dodd, the executive director of the Madison Education Foundation, and I had the opportunity to meet with the president of the nonprofit board that supports the VISTA, which is Dysart's Performing Arts Center, and we had some really good conversation, got some great information, which I'll be sharing with Assistant Superintendent Garvey and also with Superintendent Guerin. It was a meaningful, even though it felt like we were driving to the end of the earth in Surprise, it was a very worthwhile conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kasi. Mr. Holcomb?
Yeah, I have just. I also want to congratulate the award winners. I used to wonder what that purpose that served, and I've come to believe that that's one of the most important things we do, is recognizing our staff and the great work that they do. It's a big part of what builds our culture. I also think, we talked about the refugees at Rose Lane. That's one of the most important things as a public school district we do. We strive for excellence. We serve all the students. We really take pride in the fact that many students come to us because of the arts and the education we have. But it's also a real point of pride that we serve the kids that just here because that's what they, they're here because they're here. And that's a very important part of public schools that I think is gotten lost in all the ideology and politics. And I would recommend for anybody listening to, please be following what's happening down at the legislature. There's a lot going on and a lot that impacts families and students and that for a long time. And we need to make sure your voice is heard. And if you need help doing that at all, we have the Madison Advocates, which is a great resource and can help amplify your voice. The last thing is the Moldavo. One thing you forgot to mention is they were semifinalists on America's Got Talent. I mean, you know, actually, that's one of my guilty pleasures is watching that, because since I have no talent, is watching people that actually have talent. They were phenomenal. They were really cool. My wife is looking forward to going to, because they're big, buff guys who sweat a lot. She's going to enjoy that a great deal.
Okay, on that note, thank you. Vice President Thompson.
I don't know how to follow that up. I will, first I want to echo the kudos my fellow board members have shared about all our award winners. It is so special to be able to recognize people from each campus at each of these meetings. As Mr. Holcomb said, it really does say something not only about the culture of our schools, but of this board. And I, for one, love seeing all those educators and support staff coming forward at our meetings. I also want to thank the students from MTA who came today to play in the brass quintet and sing today. They had a wonderful performance before the board meeting started, and deeply appreciate them and the parents and caregivers that brought them today. Two other things. Dr. Guerin already mentioned that tis the season for the fourth graders to visit the middle schools. I know my children had a fantastic experience despite having to go to visit their middle school already a couple times with me as a board member. They went on their own. At first they were like, oh, we've already seen the school, it'll be fine. But I picked them up from aftercare and they were aglow. They couldn't stop talking about how excited they were, what classes they were going to take, and I know that same experience is duplicated at each of our middle schools, and I know it's also duplicated not just when the students come to visit during the day, but with the special parent nights that you have. And I just want to thank each of our middle school principals and staff for making the students feel welcome this early in the process, and the parents feel comfortable about that transition as well. So thank you. One other item that I saw just before I came to the board meeting, Community Education has posted on Facebook that they're doing a Lego drive for the 21st Century grant at Park. They're going to have a summer program. So if you have any Legos, regular size Legos that you're ready to have depart your house, if you can pull them out of your children's hands or out of your feet, please drop them by the MAC offices or here at the district office. It would be greatly appreciated. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson. Yes, I was going to thank all our community for coming out almost every meeting for our school showcases, our awards. So as Mr. Holcomb said, it is really great for our community and our community feel. So I appreciate everyone that comes out every time. Let's see, yes, in addition to going to the Capitol with Ms. Kazi, I got to hang out at the #1 movie night. I think a lot of our schools are having movie nights right now, although it was really cold that night. So, but it was still fun. And we have a jam-packed weekend in addition to Malevo. Let's see, we have, there's a community fun run on Saturday that I'm doing with Mr. Holcomb and Dr. Guerin. And that's for junior achievement, and we're helping out with that. And I believe there's an MTA festival also Saturday afternoon. And then there's also another event at the Madison that I plan to go to, is Count Basie and her orchestra. So I'm excited for a busy weekend. I think that's all I have, and we'll move on to consent agenda. Does anyone have any changes or need to pull anything off the consent agenda?
I move we adopt the consent agenda as presented.
I will second that.
Thank you. Mr. Holcomb and Ms. Spear. Lots of clicking going on. Are we good? Yay! Oh, now it's coming up again for me. Okay. And that passes. Next up, we have a call to the public. Mr. Fleming. And you have 3 minutes to address the board.
Thank you very much. How's everyone? Oh, I can't say anything. Oh, thank you. Okay. Hello. My name's Taylor Fleming. I spoke once here. I just like to start off with a dream that
Sorry,
I
sir,
had.
we're gonna fix the timer. That's our fault.
Okay.
Or is it good now? No?
I will use my computer.
Okay, sorry, we'll just use the old-fashioned way. Sorry, I'm sorry, sir, go right ahead.
That's okay. About 5 years ago, I had a dream, and in this dream, it took place, and I know now, in front of Camel View Elementary School. And as I walked up, it took place me standing in front, the cafeteria just to the right of me. As I stood there, a face recognition type of object came and just kind of hovered in front of me. And once it took my picture or what have you, it went right back up to the corner of the cafeteria outside. Then, as I looked to the left, there were about three, what I know now to be 3 drone planes that just landed just to the left, just east. And they landed all at the same time. Right after that, I heard my daughter, Lorden, calling me, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy." I'm like, "Lorden?" I went inside the cafeteria door. When I went inside, it was completely dark. There was one Afro-American woman there, hair parted, coming down or what have you, and she was sitting at a desk, and she said to me, "You're having a boy." Fast forwarding, I knew nothing about Camel View, nothing. A friend of mine recommended me to the Madison School District. Sure enough, I had a boy, Havon. He's in the 2nd grade. That being said, I really believe that I'm called to the school district to be an asset, part of the solution and not the problem, if you will. However, dissecting the dream, we now have inside, when you go in, you have to show your badge or what have you, and what have you. Make a long story short, there's some things that we need to address in the school. And one of them is racism, okay? We all have parents, most of us, and I don't believe it's the children, but I believe it's coming from home. Since I've been there, my children have been there, my daughter has been called different names. She's been stabbed with a pencil. My son just got kicked in the back today. Just happened to be Black History Month. I'm not harboring on that at all. But I believe that we need to address race more. I know we'd like to think our children are perfect and our homes are perfect or what have you, and none of that's filtering into the school system. But having 2 children there, one for 5 years since kindergarten, and now one, Havon in the 2nd grade, we need to. Mr. C.J. Smith, wonderful principal. He has in his office a plethora of books. Not one of those books deal with racism. Not one. So I question, are there any books in the Madison School District that address racism, race relations even, that we can teach the children, or is it just deemed unnecessary? Today, my son says, "Dad, we're learning about Cesar Chavez. Black History Month, we're learning about Cesar Chavez." Prior to that, he's learning about Jackie Robinson. It seems like every year when Black history is being taught, it's about an entertainer or someone playing sports. My daughter has Beyonce. I'll end with this. There are more about Black history that we can teach the children besides Afro-Americans being entertainers in sports and playing sports. For instance, there was a counter. The counter in the libraries was invented by an Afro-American man. He wanted to protect his boss from drunk people coming in, stumbling over, so he made a shelf, just a countertop to keep his boss from being harmed by the drunk people coming in. I just want to leave that with you, just food for thought. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. And Dr. Guerin, will you be in touch about this issue? Thank you.
Thank you.
And we are at 7.1, math textbook adoption. Dr. Guerin?
President Gresham, members of the board, cabinet, and guests, I'd like to turn it over to Assistant Superintendent Marshall.
Thank you. President Gresham, members of the board, I'm pleased tonight to bring forward a recommendation for a math textbook adoption. Madison Traditional Academy is considered one of our signature programs in the Madison district, and our director for signature programs, Mr. Casey George, along with the principal, Mr. Chris Merrill, facilitated an adoption committee and then guided the students, the parents, and the teachers through the process to help determine what book would best meet the needs of Madison traditional students. And so with that, I will turn it over to them as they share the results from the committee.
Do I need to speak in the microphone? All right. I can't wander.
For those watching at home, Mr. George.
Thank you. Madam President, members of the board, I believe we're going to get our, oh, it's coming up. Super. All right. So, wow, a long time ago, there was a little bit of a district controversy back in 2005, 2006 with a math adoption. And Mr. Holcomb, I believe you were the only one on the school board at the time. And it was Turk Math.
There were other people on it, but I'm the only one still here. I can't take all the blame.
Okay. But anyways, it was Turk Math was being adopted, and it was somewhat controversial because it got adopted without a textbook. And that was somewhat controversial. It's one of the reasons MTA got created. One of the reasons. So it's just, we're back, and at that time, back in 2007, the Saxon Math book got adopted. Saxon's a wonderful program, but Saxon Math got bought out by a company, and they are no longer going to support Saxon Math. Okay, and it's just it's been over the years. It's been a great program. MTA is 1 year advanced, and it's throughout its program, but it's harder now for teachers to supplement because the state standards have changed. Saxon Math has been relatively the same. Okay, so the pilot began last year. And that began with Amy Ball and Chris Merrill, because I was over at number 1. And during the summer, I came back and we identified 2 programs to pilot for the fall. Each program was implemented for 8 weeks. So we did 8 weeks, and then we switched the other program using the same teachers. We used 1 math teacher per grade level. Okay. And now I'm going to turn over to Mr. Merrill. He's going to talk about the results of the pilot.
Good evening. Thank you very much. Once both curriculums have been piloted, K4, one of our teachers did, and then 5 through 8, because we're departmentalized, everybody in 5 through 8 got through it. I had a leadership committee made up of the members of, or the teachers that were in the pilot program. We met, all 9 that were involved recommended Reveal Math. There was nobody that recommended Math in Focus. We did a survey with our parents. I announced it at a guild meeting. I sent out notice in my e-hoots, and there was a Google document that was out for 2 weeks for parents to respond to that. I had 86 responses from parents, and 61% of those parents responded that they preferred Reveal Math. There were 18% that wanted Math in Focus, and there's 13% of parents that said they still wanted to keep Saxon even though it's going away. And 8% out of the group that recommended one, 8% of parents just didn't really said like no answer, no comment, something like that. And so I felt that it was a very successful. That was clear by the teachers. It's more than the majority for the parents and the kids. Just seeing them go through the first 9 weeks and the Math in Focus adoption, which was not very popular, not very successful for MTA, and then to see them really start to grasp all those math concepts that we want them to have with the reveal. It was an exciting process that I don't want to do again, but I will if I have to. But I learned a lot, and I learned a lot about math curriculum. Thank you.
Did it go away? There we go. So I'm just going to touch on some of the features of the program. Of course, it's research-based. We wouldn't do anything that wasn't research-based. It has a flexible approach, and that's important for MTA because MTA is a traditional school. Every textbook company will have some type of program of lesson delivery and materials, and here what you see is Reveal's math version, where you would launch it. That's like your anticipatory set, how you relate with kids. The teacher might say, oh, who has a pet or an animal, and then you relate it to a math concept type situation. And then you go into the explore and develop, where they're playing with the ideas and doing experimentation with their thought experiments and such. And then they have practice and reflect, where they actually practice some of these problems, then they test the kids, and then they differentiate. But it's flexible. So you can skip any one of these. It allows you to do that. And one thing a traditional school would probably skip, and some of the teachers did, was the explore and develop, the second part. Because the thing about traditional schools is they believe in a strong foundation. They're still going to explore and develop. They're still going to get to the critical thinking application. But what they're going to do first is launch, then go to practice and reflect, then do the testing, then differentiate as needed, and then they come back to explore and development. It's just a belief of strong foundational skills before you get to the critical thinking. And so this textbook allows for that flexibility. Whereas some textbooks don't. You have to follow Saxon. In fact, you have to follow the procedure in Saxon. So other features for teacher supports. There are benchmark tests, exit tickets, a spiral review that's somewhat Saxon-like. One thing that a teacher highlighted to me that said was very important that they really appreciated, they have multiple versions of the same test. That helps with test security, test retakes. You can use one of the forms for study guides. Teachers don't have to recreate the work. There's a virtual personal tutor. I don't know a lot about it, but think I was tutoring my daughter in junior level math, which I haven't had for myself for quite some. I had to look stuff up with Khan Academy. That's the type of thing that you'd get with the virtual personal tutor, although I've not personally played with that myself yet. Provides examples for guest teacher support. So when you have a guest teacher, and also the next one, slide presentations for lessons. Teachers really like this, so you don't have a wasted day. The guest teacher can actually use the same slides as that the teacher has created and used that it comes with Reveal Math. And you have online paper and online support. So there's also features for home support, and this is real important to MTA parents. So the consumable in and of itself is online. If a child forgets his consumable at school, he has access to it online. Additional online practice, and it's more than just the workbook. It's actually online practice where the computer will actually give you more practice of the same concept and gives you hints. So the child can try it. If it gets it wrong, gets a hint, gets to try it again, that type of support. And the one thing that's not on here is also, when I went back, I wanted to talk about the slide presentations for lessons. We got a big, parents love the fact that the parents also have access to those slides presentations. That's a big benefit for them. So when you're trying to help your child at home, you get the same slide presentations as the guest teacher or the teacher themselves. Okay? So with all of that, on behalf of the MTA Math Adoption Committee, we ask the governing board to consider the adoption of Reveal Math, and we can take any questions you might have.
Thank you, everyone. Any discussions, questions, Mr. Holcomb?
Yeah, I just wanted to, because this is very different than my understanding of what really Saxon math was. I mean, and in both the delivery system and some of the, the core of it. Are you feel comfortable with the transition, the plan for the transition? Both for the teachers and for the students, particularly 7th and 8th graders who have been doing Saxon math throughout their educational career.
I think we can both answer that. If you don't mind, I'll go first, Chris, because he's on the front lines. He'll give you a more comfort feel with the teachers and such. I can tell you as a former math teacher, I taught Saxon math for 6 years in the Peoria district. So transition is like any other textbook adoption transition. So I see no problem whatsoever with transitions. Chris, I don't know if you've...
Yeah, no, I think the transition for the middle school students has already occurred because they've already had both curriculums. One of the things that we set up with both publishers back in the summer was whichever one of you that we pick, we want you to provide us with the rest of the school year so that we didn't have to do one math adoption, the second math adoption, and then take everybody back to Saxon math. So ever since basically the beginning of the second quarter, all of the middle school students have had the same Reveal math curriculum, and that'll translate as they move up through 8th grade. Scott, Mr. Holcomb, K4 is a little bit different. I have 3 classes in each grade level, and I only did the adoption with one of those classes. So you might have been in the adoption in 2nd grade, and when you go to 3rd grade, your transition's going to be a little bit easier. But there's going to be some 2nd grade students that haven't. They've still spent this year in Saxon math. We've spent a lot of time talking about that. We have a mini math committee with my leadership team that we talk about that. Mrs. Smith, if she's still here, has been instrumental with the kindergarten. So that's a big focus of ours, is getting the kindergarten, not only the kindergarten, foundations that they need, but also getting them the 1st grade, because we are a year advanced in math.
If I have one more, and then I'll be done.
Okay, last one.
Yeah, sorry. But it was related to that on the other side. Now that you've gone through this process with this this math adoption, I'm curious as to how that might have informed this, Ms. Marshall, and maybe as well, how this informs the other math adoption. Because a lot of the things I see here are really, look really good beyond whether it's traditional, non-traditional, but the structure of it. And also when we brought in the traditional, when we opened MTA, in case as you're aware, that also informed what we did at the other schools too, because we saw, okay, this works well, this helps us, and this adoption looks like it should be something that has a lot of positives for what we're going forward on the other schools as well.
I can take that one. Thank you, Mr. Holcomb and members of the board. That question, coincidentally, the Reveal Math had been a consideration of the Math Adoption Committee for the other 7 schools. As you know, we adopted a program called Into Math for the other 7 schools. They did consider Reveal, but some of the features that Mr. George shared with you, they did feel fit more with the traditional school, and the committee at the time felt that the Into Math program more fit the needs, especially some of the changes that have happened with state assessment where students, there are multiple correct responses. So rather than just solving the problem and picking the A, B, C, D answer, that there could be more than one answer to choose from, and that the Into Math program provided the support and the instruction that would help for the other 7 schools. So this is our 2nd year with the Into Math program for the other 7 schools, and I did find it interesting that as the committee worked through the programs that were available, Reveal Math was chosen based on the features that you saw as something that would fit a traditional approach.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Spear, then Ms. Kazi.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for doing the pilots. I know that it is a lot of work. It is methodical and data-driven, and I really appreciate you going through the iterations with both of the options. My question is, on the other end, when our students matriculate from 8th grade on to high school, do we have the confidence that this Reveal Math is going to continue to serve our students? There were some limitations with Saxon as our students moved into high school, and I know as parents that we have heard about some of those limitations. Will we be able to address some of that with Reveal? Will Reveal allow us to even better prepare our 8th graders?
You want me to go, Casey?
Go ahead.
Mrs. Spear, yes. That is exactly what I think will happen. And as I looked into it and read more and more and checked the curriculum as we were going through it, visited with my teachers, that was everybody's feeling about that. An important survey came out recently involving Saxon math. I believe it was done by some graduate students at ASU. And they tracked 8th graders in the state of Arizona that had learned Saxon math. And almost all of those 8th graders began their high school in advanced placement classes, but by the time they were junior, were no longer in those math advanced placement classes. It's our hope that with Reveal and all of the parts that are there for it and all of the things that teachers can do with it, the help that parents have, is that we will still have that super strong math facts and fluency foundation that Saxon gave us, but also a really strong problem solving, critical thinking, perseverance student that when they leave MTA in 8th grade, not only will they have algebra counting as a high school class every 8th grader, they will be accepted into the AP classes and stay in the AP classes.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
And Ms. Kazi?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So is it fair to say that parents will have essentially 3 different types of tools in order to support their students? So the virtual personal tutor, the slide presentations, and then the lesson monitoring, so they'll know exactly through PowerSchool what assignments their kids are. So if they're absent or they're struggling, they can go straight to PowerSchool. Can you walk me through that? And then also, what are the plans to help parents understand how to access these and use these tools?
Okay, so I can definitely answer that. So the answer to that question is yes, all 3. I'm going to tell you there's going to be a hiccup or challenge with PowerSchool and Reveal Math. Now, the good news is Reveal, and the reason I know I can speak of this because I ran Madison Virtual Academy, and I had to make sure that my lesson recording was working with PowerSchool, and I know there's challenges, and there's going to be. What you have, the good news is Reveal Math has its own. So if for some reason it's a better communication device for parents, we'll take advantage of it. We're still going to have to learn that phase. Also, we have to make sure that it communicates well with PowerSchool because we don't want teachers doing double entry. So we are very sensitive to teachers and their workload. So there is that challenge, and we're going to have to get through that challenge. That's the reality, and I know that. But to answer your question, they do have all 3 of those supports. And I can't, the personal tutor, again, I don't know how exactly it works per se. I didn't play with it. My understanding is it's like Khan Academy where it's kind of giving you those chances and giving kids extra practice on certain concepts. But yes, those 3 are, yep. Did you have a specific question about any of the other 3 or the other 2?
Well, I think Mr. Mello. So I just want to know how, what is the plan to help parents access these tools and know how to utilize them to support their students?
Mrs. Kazi, Shannon and I have been working on a different new family orientation program to MTA so that we could talk to all families about that. Much along the lines of those, we will have to have some family nights at MTA right off the bat to get parents everything that they can possibly use, all the information out there for them. One good thing, Mrs. Kazi, is basically a little more than half of my school has already been using it. Parents are using it. Parents are in there. So they can help each other out, but we also want to provide that. Those are some of the notes that I have to talk to the representative at McGraw-Hill, not only for the professional development for the teachers, but professional development for the parents.
Anyone else? Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for everyone's work on this, and I appreciate that you did involve the parents and survey the parents, just so the public knows that this is an adoption for one school, not district-wide, so that's why we didn't have it on display here and all that. So, yeah, so, oh, Mr. Holcomb.
If I just wanted to make one comment too, I haven't seen these number of adoptions too. I've always been very proud of the way Madison approaches it with the pilots, running the pilots, doing that type of thing, really working on the transition, looking at, not just saying, okay, we're adopting books, but really putting that effort in. I think we do, in my experience, a very excellent job. And each time we do it, as you can really see the work that's put behind it. And I wanted to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yes, and in the spirit of that, this is an information item this meeting, and then the next meeting we will vote on it, so we'll do it that way. So thank you.
Thank you.
And staying with the curriculum theme, we will go on to 7.2, a social studies adoption. Dr. Guerin, do you want to?
President Gresham, I will once again turn it over to Ms. Marshall.
Thank you, President Gresham, members of the board, members of cabinet. Yes, keeping our adoption theme, you know Dr. John Renard as our athletic director. You've mainly seen him in that role, but he also serves as our instructional coach for the content area of social studies, and he led a committee similar process to the math adoption to review available materials for social studies that our teachers would have. The current adoption has been in place longer than my 13-year tenure in Madison, so it is definitely time for an update. And under the direction of our curriculum director, Laura Webb, John facilitated this committee. So tonight, to share the results of that committee work is Dr. John Renard.
Good evening. Well, my presentation is a bit longer, so it's a lot of work. First of all, I want to say good evening, Governing Board, Board President, Ms. Grisham, Governing Board Vice President, Ms. Thompson, board members, and also Superintendent Dr. Guerin. Like I said, my name is Dr. Renard. I'm the Social Studies coach and also the District Athletic Director and also the chairperson for the Social Studies Textbook Selection Committee. The purpose of this presentation is to outline the Social Studies textbook adoption process and the rationale supporting the Selections Committee's recommendation to adopt the McGraw-Hill Social Studies K-8 textbooks and online curriculum materials. See if I can do this right. Yes, okay. All right, so what I'd like to do is just give you a little history of the transition of social studies standards. Back in 2017-18, the Arizona Department of Education started to modify the social studies standards, and this is in their words, to create a coherent sequence form from one grade to the next to avoid unneeded repetition and to close content gaps. Each elementary grade level has a storyline and content focus for the year. So as you can see over here, these are the storylines. And they go in sequential order here, and this is what we follow. These are the storylines that we're going to be following in our curriculum. So I just want to make you aware of that. In addition, the content standards are organized under the 4 core disciplines. We have civics, economics, geography, and history. Offer a unique way of thinking about and organizing knowledge. Now, the disciplinary skills, I call them the S&Ps, skills and processes, provide or offer a means for students to verify that knowledge through the inquiry model. Now, the inquiry model is a way, it's almost like an action-based research type of learning, where the students are the center of their learning process. And they respond to a compelling question based on supporting questions using primary, secondary sources to come up with their answer to those questions. And the teacher facilitates. It's not like the sage and the stage. So, and that's where, I think that's the biggest shift that we're looking at. And I know that the McGraw-Hill the inquiry model is embedded in that, in the textbooks and also the curriculum, as you will see. Also, there are anchor standards. There are 21 anchor standards. 17 of these anchor standards are centered around the contents of civics, economics, geography, and history. And then the remaining 4 standards are on the skills and processes for those students, called S&Ps. And these are the ones that are very related to the inquiry model. I think it's, I can't verbatim, it was like 3.1 to 3.5 standards are basically the inquiry model. And so, and that's what the McGraw-Hill really focuses on as well. So, at the beginning of the process, it's way back. Whoops, did I go this way? Dr. Wilson and I, the former CNI director, we wrote a a statement of purpose. And we did that in order to focus our committee members on exactly what are the criteria that we're going to use to evaluate the different types of curriculum that we're going to look at. And so what I'd like to do is just to take a brief second just to read you this statement so you understand it better. The Madison School District is seeking new social studies materials for grades K through 8. Alignment of our curriculum with the Arizona State standards should be an integral part of the materials for the social studies curriculum adoption. We are looking for materials that specifically provide students with current research-based best practices for learning in each content area listed aligned to the standards. The materials must also address the diverse needs of all students, including English language learners, special education students, and gifted students. This committee will review and consider items that meet these criteria. Very simple, but I think it's important that they know the end state. Where are they going? This is the end state. This is the end of the trip, guys. But you got to let it at the beginning of the trip, too. The selection committee had a representation from all the schools. And I'd like to recognize the members of the committee for their participation and feedback, and also their time and effort. It took some time on their part, and to review all that information. So first I'd like to, I know Dr. Wilson is no longer working here, but she was a major part of this. Ms. Webb, also Hannah Milne, Nadia Witzel, Amanda Cohen, Victoria Coughlin, Melissa Powers, Denise Dell, also Justin Morales, Justin Richardson, Carly McAllister, Shannon Smith, Rose Wernberg, Clary Vacante, Anna Andrews, and Rebecca Galindo from Park. So the timeline, it was a kind of a tight timeline, and it was, Dr. Wilson was the one that got the ball rolling and started to get the RFP out to the vendors. And then on April 26th, we had the first meeting for our selection committee. And also this was on, these online committee, or these virtual meetings were also open to the public. We had announcements on the webpage, district webpage. Then we sent out the publisher's response we do on May 5th. Then we convened again to review the information. Then the committee selected McGraw Hill and Savas to move forward. Then on June 23rd, we ended the review. The committee reviewed results of the feedback. And then on August 1st, the vendor presentation, McGraw Hill, was open to the public and also to our committee. So that's kind of the adoption timeline. All right, so at the end of the process, these are just some of the results. So Savas and McGraw Hill were the only two publishers to submit their proposals for the K through 8 social studies curriculum. The selection committee used a virtual evaluation rubric to evaluate and analyze the two publishers' current curriculum materials. The materials were staged in the office on the second floor of the district office. The committee members came to the district to review the materials. The review window was from May 17th to June 23rd. At the end of the review window, the rubric scores were tabulated, and the majority of the committee members favored McGraw Hill over Savas, as evident on the bar graph in the slide. As you can see, there was almost 61% approval rating for McGraw Hill and about a 48% for Savas. In addition, to support the quantitative, there's also some qualitative data as well. We had teachers write comments, and these are some of the comments. One is the McGraw Hill textbooks offer a variety of instructional strategies for the teacher. Also, the material is closely aligned to the state standards. The focus is on inquiry model, which is aligned to state and national standards. The online options are robust and will help teachers better assess students in real time. One from Savas is the engagement opportunities did not meet the district expectations. The structure of the content is similar to the current adoptions from 15 years ago. And then last, relatively easy program to follow with many different options to support learning at a variety of levels. McGraw Hill is the publisher of the district reading program, and the online platform and lessons for social studies have a similar format. And that's another advantage, is that science, English, now social studies use McGraw Hill, and the the platforms are very similar. So it'll be easy for the students to navigate and the teachers to navigate as well. So the public display, the socials materials for the 4th, 5th, and 8th grade, those are the grades we use to do the selection committee and also the pilot. These were on display for 60 days from October to December, and the community was right over there, and the community had the opportunity to come in to look it over. And also there was instructions on a QR code for them to give feedback. Only one person in the community provided feedback. And the main concern was that the sequence of historical timelines from grades K through 8 were not enough project-based learning opportunities. Also, the person thought the sequence of historical periods is based on the community provided feedback, okay, and the sequence of historical timelines from K were not enough, and there was not enough project-based learning opportunities. So they thought the sequence was out of order. So if I to answer that concern is that we use the storylines that we just mentioned earlier, okay, that was based on the state standards. Now we enter the pilot program. So McGraw Hill was selected, and now we want to go into the pilot program and just kind of test it out, stress test the curriculum. The pilot program consisted of 2 teachers from grades 4th, 5th, and 8th, and each school had a teacher participate in the pilot program. The pilot teachers received 90 minutes training from McGraw Hill trainers on implementing the curriculum in the classroom. The pilot window was 2 months from December 1st, 2023 to January 31st, 2024. And this pilot teacher participation and pilot teacher training. At the end of the 2-month pilot, the pilot teachers were sent out a survey that had 9 questions on it with a liking scale ranging from 0 to 4. 0 being poor, 1 being less than average, 2 average, 3 good, 4 excellent. The majority of the respondents scored between 3.0 to 4.0, which equates to good to excellent on all the questions. Well, most of the questions, sorry. The highest score was a 3.4 for question number 2. Materials possess elements that will prepare math and students for successful learning for Arizona standards. This score is a good indicator that the curriculum is well aligned to the social studies standards. So the majority of the teachers gave a very high rating because it was closely aligned to the standards. And that's important because, right now, prior to this, I couldn't actually say that. And then one of the scores that was low was question number 7, and that had to do with the professional development question. Since the pilot teachers only received abbreviated PD for their pilot training, there wasn't enough information to make well-informed recommendation. There will be additional professional development in the coming months that will be addressed, will address this concern. And there's just some of the feedback from the teachers, as you can see. I love the textbook. It's engaging, interactive. I really like the curriculum. I like that it was more McGraw Hill, so I already knew how to navigate the online platform as did my students. I think we should buy this program for our students. There are so many reasons, but I think new teachers and elementary teachers simply do not have the time to look for materials constantly. This program would be a lifeline and would be well received. Thanks. So that's a pretty good endorsement. Okay, I recommend materials. So McGraw has K through 4, they call their materials impact. And now it provides the teacher with a hard copy teacher textbook, teacher edition. And also they have consumables as well for the students. And then a plethora of online material as well, which I'll go into further. Now, the 5th grade and through 8th grade, they have the Discovering Our Past U.S. Studies, that's another textbook, World History, Voices and Perspectives, 7th grade is Custom World History and U.S. History, Voices and Perspectives, and the 8th grade Exploring Civics and Economics. So if you look at those, they're pretty much aligned to the storylines that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, this is a little more in depth. So looking at this grades K through 4, we have impact, but also in grades 5 is a little different. There is they don't call it impact, but it has its own textbook, Discovering Our Past, United States Studies. Along with those textbooks, you have a teacher edition, also you have a class set. In addition to that, you can have online electronic materials, support materials as well. One is, I talked about the Inquiry Journal. That goes back to the Inquiry Learning. That's consumable. And Impact, Student Impact Explorer magazine is additional readings. Student Research Companion for helping students do research projects. And Connections booklet, grade Arizona. They always have some type of relating back to Arizona history. And then they have Reading Essentials, which is additional reading sources for the teachers, like they want to do a poem or they want to do something else. And then primary sources, a really good a bank of good primary sources that's based on grade level readings for the students to use. Okay, now through 6 or 8, we kind of mentioned those those textbooks, but they also go on the ebook as well. So they have, the teacher has an ebook edition, the student has an ebook edition. Along with that, they have the social studies teacher community. It's kind of like this online collaborative website for not just teachers in the school, but teachers all around the country where they can compare notes, ask questions, and get feedback from one another. Kahoot is kind of a game, but it's used as a form of assessment for students. And I know at my high school level, we use it with our high school kids too. You know, it could be kindergarten, 12th graders, you react the same. And it's kind of fun, but it's also good, and they get good information too, because it actually records the information. They have a current events, online current events app. What Smart Book. It's almost like a learning management system where the teacher can see how the student is doing, progressing based on the standard. Now, it's kind of like, is a student proficient, approaching, or highly proficient, okay? And they can see that real time, okay? They give a test or a quiz, and so it's a nice feature, okay? I almost want to say that the parent has access to this as well. So there is some for parents to get access. In addition to that, they have the primary and secondary sources. That's another electronic resource. Election Central, they have factual information about the current election process. I know that's a hot item topic right now, especially in social studies, but they do a good job there. And then the last is the teacher planning. It's a very in-depth app that has a lot of good lesson plans for the teacher. They can take that lesson plan, adapt it to their own, or not use it at all. But it's a good reference for them, or maybe, especially a new teacher, a good starting point to use. And it's also aligned to the standards. So, all right, professional development comes into 4 phases, and the first phase is the pre-implementation program. This is optional for teachers, and we'll be scheduling this in May, where it'll be about an hour to maybe a 90-minute training session that teachers will learn, get on, and learn how to navigate the program electronically. And they have demo accounts, so the teacher can get on the demo account and learn how to navigate it. It might be good for a teacher to do it, with summertime, they have a little free time, get on it, learn it, so that it's not like a big, wow, a surprise when they come back in the fall. So that will be offered in May, and it is optional. And also, McCord Hill will be doing the training. Then we go into the bones, the meat and bones of the PD, which is the implementation training, and that's going to be scheduled during the first week of August during the in-service days for teachers. And we'll split it up, K through 4 in the morning and everybody else in the afternoon, or vice versa. Depends on the schedules and how it works. Okay. And then these are some more optional training that I think I would recommend the training is administrative training, and it's a couple sessions, 1 to 2 hours, and to help the principals understand the philosophy behind the curriculum, and also to get a better understanding of how it works so they can help their teachers if necessary. And then another one is train the trainer, is have somebody on the campus, the school, one person on campus, who is really familiar with the curriculum or the textbook and the materials that can train other teachers too. And so those are optional PDs, but I think they're a good thing too. I would recommend that as well. All right, implementation timeline. So now until next year. So right now we're doing the board preview, and then next, as you know, next month, March 5th, the board will take action. If everything goes well, we'll order the license and materials, and then in May, we do the preliminary virtual training. June, July, labeling and delivery of all the materials to the schools. August, professional development, and then 24, 25, year one implementation. We go into the monitor stage and get checked back with our teachers to see how everything's going, and go from there. And so that's what the implementation timeline what it looks like. So I just want to thank you, and at this time, if you have any questions or comments.
Thank you so much for your presentation, and I really appreciate the background information as well, and it's nice to meet you, so thank you for being here. I have a quick question, and then I'll go to my other board members, but just to address the one public comment that we got, as far as the project-based learning, will the teachers still have the ability to incorporate project-based learning?
Yes, yeah.
That's what I,
Yeah,
that's
it's,
what I
it's, part, it's yeah, they have like inquiry model and also project-based ideas as well in the
Perfect.
textbook and the teacher editions. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. I'll start over here. Maybe we'll start with Ms. Kazi this time.
So I was curious if the reading material, is it in the consumables?
You're a
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that? It shouldn't be. My phone is losing its mind. And my phone should be off. I love technology. So the reading materials, is it in the consumables or is it only via an ebook? Just
No, it's the consumables.
Okay, great.
And,
So they
but
can
they also have an ebook as well,
Right.
along with it.
So if they lose it, they can access it at home. Okay, excellent. And then my second question is, and this is more just a general standards question, because the standards have really changed. I did
Yes, they
not
have.
realize how much they've changed. I was like, what? So when are they learning American history after the 1900s?
After 1900, I believe it's going to be in the 7th grade. It's American. It's like or is it 5th grade? Oh my gosh, 7th and 8th grade. Yeah. So 7th grade. It's the 7th grade.
7th is American history through the perspective of world history.
Right.
That's the 1900s.
Yeah. So
You're
it's
covering
like-
both world history and American history in 7th grade now. Wow. Okay. That's just curious. I was curious. That's a lot. Thank you.
Yes, I have. Thank you so much for your presentation. Your adoption committee members is quite the esteemed list of Madison VIPs. I was wondering, was the general consensus, was it the consensus unanimous that McGraw is the choice, is the premier
Yes, it
choice?
was. Yes, it was.
Okay, thank you. That means a lot
Yeah,
to
we
me.
talked. Yeah, because not only did we did that, but also McGraw-Hill King did a presentation as well.
Mhm.
So then they had to get to see the more of the materials and understand more of it. And then I would just yes, we can go ahead and do the pilot with this one.
Okay, thank you so much.
Anyone else?
No, I got to go first last time. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Holcomb gets-
I just, a couple of questions, just in general, because a lot of people still, there was always the issue about using consumables in general, about with the curriculum. I've always understood that the consumables, as across the board, it works better than having the hard textbooks, and that I'm wondering about your experience considered in relation to that. In other, just in general, because we still have issues that people come back about. Okay, you don't have a textbook.
Right. Well, the whole thing with the there's with the consumables, especially with K through 4, is that it is like a textbook. Okay, and so it's they read it, they can write on it, there's responses in it, and so So it's not a hard copy, but it's very similar to that. If I make myself clear.
Yeah, no, that's exactly part of the explanation. It's not that you don't have a textbook, it's that it's in consumable form.
Right, consumable form, right.
Okay. The second thing is the low score for the professional development is just sort of a red flag. I wondered, what is the plan? Do you think that that is actually a deficiency that we need to take action on? And if so, what is the action plan to supplement the professional development or make it to a point where it is more, the teachers believe it's in better condition?
Right. Well, I think what's going to happen is we are going to address it. And like I said, when they first got trained, they only had 90 minutes of training. Now, when they go back, it's going to be, a 3-hour training, in-person 3-hour training, and then if necessary, some follow-on training as well. Okay, and then training the trainer, also training the principals. So it's an ongoing process. So So I think what happened was when they saw that question, they just related back to what they had. Oh, I only had 30 minutes. So. Maybe that wasn't a good question.
Well, it sounds like it's more the fact that they didn't have enough time to do the professional development, not that the resources for professional development are lacking.
No, the resources will be there.
I'd also like to share, Mr. Holcomb and members of the board, that as we do with our other adoptions, we ask for the professional development from the publisher for the life of an adoption. Now, that's not to say 15 years, but a typical life cycle of an adoption is 5 to 7 years, and we ask for that as part of the agreement that we would bring forward for approval, that be included. So as we have teacher turnover, new teachers to the profession, that ongoing professional development is available and provided.
Good. Last question I have, it's concerned me quite a bit about the fact that ideology has been inserted into education, and I think nowhere more so than in social studies. And also the concern on the national publishers about the Texas impact, and minimizing such things as the Civil War and things of that nature. How was that addressed in the the evaluation and adoption?
Okay, that's a very good question, and it's a hard question to answer because everybody's going to look at something differently. You're going to look at it with your perception, with your own. I could read a paragraph and say that's fine. Somebody else is going to read the same paragraph and say, well, that's CRT, or that's some other type of issue. But through the process, through the pilot training, through our committee, the selection committee, nobody, when they went through all the materials, I've read most of the material myself, I didn't see anything that stand out and say, wow, this could be objectionable. Okay, I think that they do a fair, factual representation of the history, and again, it's based on our state standards. And, we're not there to, influence it. We, like I said, that's why I like the inquiry learning is that here's the question, here are the primary facts, students come up with the answers, okay? And so you're right, and that's a very difficult question to answer because, like I said, people comes with their own perspectives and they'll look at something and say, wow, this is, why did you buy this? And another person might say, I don't see anything wrong with it at all. So my personal opinion, I think McGraw Hill has done a good job of trying to keep it as factual basis and keep the bias out of it and keep it as factual as possible.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And Ms. Thompson.
Thank you. I just had one question. The other issue that was just below 3 by a hair was the question about meeting the diverse needs of our Madison students. And I recognize that was just a 2.9 and our standard is 3 or better. But wondered if there was anything specific that around those concerns and what the plans are to make sure that we can get that above a 3 as we implement.
That's a good question. And look, when I was looking through the materials and also reading people's comments, And I think one of the things might be is that the Lexile scores, okay? Because they're so used to Newsela. We use Newsela right now. They can adjust Lexile scores. You can do that in McGraw Hill too. So what I think has to be done is that part of the PD, we need to make sure the teachers understand that you can adjust Lexile scores, in electronic versions of the materials. So you can do if necessary for students to accommodate their needs. So,
Thank
yes.
you. That's wonderful just to know that there's that tool that can be used.
Yes, was that all you had, Ms. Thompson? Okay.
Is that, just a follow-up, is that true for the consumables or just for the ebooks, the Lexile scores?
Well, the consumables, the teacher could be able to, for electronically, they'd be able to kind of change it around and maybe print it off.
Right.
But, so I think that's, to answer the question is, I think that's going to be the way the teacher can modify or accommodate the lesson for
Right.
reading abilities. But I think the consumables are, they're hard print right there, but the teacher can have the ability to modify it if necessary.
Wow, thank you. That's awesome.
All right, good to know, and thank you for all my fellow board members for all their thoughtful questions. And I think that's all we have for you. Thank
All
you,
right, thank you.
sir. All right, almost there. Item 8.1, out-of-state travel, and I will be abstaining from this vote. Do you want to introduce this?
I will absolutely introduce this. President Gresham, members of the board president is requesting to attend the 2024 National School Board Association Conference. The governing board is asked to consider and approve the out-of-state travel request as presented. President Gresham will abstain from voting.
Move to adopt the out-of-state travel request as presented.
I second the motion. I just want to say that I feel that this board is very conservative when it comes to travel, and when we do ask, it's a meaningful request, and so I would like to second that motion.
Yeah, and if I may, having attended those, and actually when lobbying in Washington, D.C., and the ability to be able to meet and talk to school board members from across the nation, I think is very helpful. So please do take advantage of that. Talk to as many people as you can. It's very eye-opening, and I think we should go back to having more of that. National. Try to make this a more regular thing, because I think you can bring, and part of that too is it relates to future meetings. After you've done that, I think it's very important that you have a report back not only to us but to the community about what you got out of that.
Absolutely. So we have a motion and a second. Please vote. And the motion passes. Thank you. And we'll go on to item 9.1, future meetings. Dr. Guerin.
President Gresham, members of the board, we have quite a busy time of year coming up with our March 5th meeting. We're planning an executive session. We don't quite know what time it will start, depending on how many of these topics are ready for us. But we will have a real estate update and a budget advisory update. In addition, it's okay. Our technology is not our friend tonight. In addition, we will have a food services update, which will focus not only on nutrition, but on our wellness work. And you will meet one of our new staff members, so excited about that. We'll have a bond update, and we have a board goal discussion scheduled as an information item. Potential action items are real estate closing, and we'll bring back both adoptions that you heard this evening, as well as take any questions that board members have between the two meetings. And in March, if we do not have our IBN budget advisory in executive session in March 5th, we'll have it March 26th. Really excited about Madison Meadows presenting their memory project to us as part of their school showcase. It's just all kinds of goosebumps and incredible international baccalaureate programming. And we will have our annual Madison Highland Prep School Report. We'll have some committee recommendations from Budget Advisory and a Science of Reading update because there's been so much focus in professional development on that, so we wanted to bring that back to you. And that will, if you cannot believe it, get us to April. That's all I have.
Thank you, Dr. Guerin. Does anybody have any comments or questions on the future meetings? All right, seeing none, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Spears, seconded by Ms. Thompson. Please vote. And we are adjourned. Thank you.